Well, hey there, families, and welcome back to our 6-week series about parenting with integrity during a crisis. I am covering ways that you can stay encouraged and supported and pointed towards the light, guided by Jesus during your days of parenting during this really weird time. So let's get started with what we're going to cover this week, which is all about empowerment. How do we empower our kids, and why do we want to empower them? Why is this such an important concept to help our kids misbehave less? Okay, so let's be honest for a second. I want to ask you guys, raise your hands if you are someone who likes to feel powerful. Me. I mean, I've really rarely met someone who has, when I've asked that question, said, I just don't like it. I did have a neighbor once. She said, no, I don't like to be powerful. I like it. I'm most comfortable when people tell me what to do. And I was like, wow, okay. She was one of the many, many hundreds and probably thousands to this point that I've asked and that has said no. But most of us say, yes, we like to feel powerful. And that is because feeling powerful is a human, healthy need. It's something God blessed us all with, and it's an important need, and it serves us really well in life for many, many different reasons. So some of our kids and some of us have more of a need to feel powerful than others. I think we're all designed in such unique ways. All of us have different personalities and different little blessings that we bring to the world, and some of us have really strong desires to feel powerful. So to give you some examples of what I mean by this is I am one of those people, and I know so many of you are going to say, yeah, me too, where I love the feeling I get when I make a suggestion and someone follows it and they have great success. And they're like, thank you, that was an awesome suggestion. I'm like, yes, I nailed it. That's an example of where I love to feel powerful. Or another example is I love the feeling of a schedule and knowing what to expect. So setting my schedule for the week and knowing what to expect. It's kind of a version of control, right? But it's a way of feeling powerful over my schedule, over my life, right? Or I also love to do sports like surfing, where after I catch a great wave and it feels so good. I think sports is such a great place where we can kind of access that feeling of wanting to feel powerful. So I know, if I think of some of the days where I've stood on the beach with my husband, my best friend of 25 years, and I'll look at the ocean and I'll say, oh my gosh, it looks pretty big, babe. And he's like, you got this, you're good, you got this. And I'm like, okay, deep breath, self, you got this. And I choose to paddle out. And just thinking of a day before quarantine hit where I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But I did it. I chose to go. It was my free will. And I caught one good wave and I came back in, sat on the beach, was like, whew, that was heavy. That was intense. But I thought to myself, whoa, that felt powerful. As I was firing down the line, I was like, wow, I like that feeling. And I did it. I felt powerful because I was courageous. I was brave. Even though I felt scared, I still paddled out. Just another example of that feeling of feeling powerful that I really want you guys to realize that we all have. So when it comes to our kids, they're no different, you guys. So how many of you out there have said, whether you've been following me or seen me speak or listened to our podcast, the Fresh Start Family Show, how many of you would raise your hands and say, yeah, either I'm a power kid or I have a power kid, a strong-willed kid, a lot of society likes to call them, right? Yeah. So many of you, again, who have a lot of pushback in your homes or have a lot of parenting strife have power kids. So our kids are no different. And this weird time that we're in right now, where schedules have been flip-flopped and sports have ended and school has ended and kids are not able to go about their regular schedules, they are seeking for ways to feel powerful. Because if you think about it, you guys, they're struggling just like us. Before this weird crisis hit, they had many opportunities during their days to feel powerful, right? Whether they're in preschool or second grade or middle school or high school, maybe they had academic clubs or they played on the sports team, or they had, my daughter's a beach volleyball player where she used to play twice a week for 3 hours each practice. So 6 hours a week, she would be out there spiking the ball, making, moves and scoring on her teammates, and she loved it. She's like my big, big power kid. Or, our kids, when they're normally in school, they have opportunities to go, hey, I know the answer. Raise their hand, give the answer. To stand in front of the class and give a presentation, or be with their friends and say, hey, I got an idea for a game. Like, let's do this. Let's play this on the blacktop today at lunch, right? These are all just examples of ways our kids have found to feel powerful. Now, there's a lot of ways our kids learn to feel powerful in inappropriate ways, and that is what we call power misbehavior. And that is where we come in and we want to guide our kids out of misbehavior and into appropriate ways where it's okay to feel powerful. Okay, so just remember, our kids are with us. We're in this together. They are struggling just like us. And we always want to ask ourselves, do we want to control our kids or teach them to control themselves? Such a good question, right? You may have heard me ask you that before, and I know all of you want to teach your kids to control themselves. And so this is where empowerment comes in, you guys. Anytime you have a power struggle going on in your house, you're going to know you're in a power struggle if you feel, as the parent, provoked and challenged. So this is that feeling of like, oh, dude, you are not going to win this. I am stronger. I am bigger. I have more stuff to take away. Like, you will not win this. I will win. If you want to go to war, sure, come on, let's go to war, but I'm going to win, right? It's kind of like shoulders go back. We puff up, we engage, and we are like provoked and challenged. Like, we got to make this kid do what we want them to do, or else we are going to lose. That's kind of that feeling of provoked and challenged. So when it comes to working with your kids and messy situations, if you feel that feeling, you're going to know, oh, I'm in a power struggle right now. And that means that my kiddos are just trying to feel powerful. It doesn't mean they're broken. Back to week 1 when we talked about those enemies, that the lies that the enemies wants you to believe, that your kids are broken, that they're brats, that they're entitled, that they just are trying to push your buttons, that they want to just destroy the peace in your home. I swear, I used to think, you guys, I would go into my class when I was first learning positive parenting, and I would say to my teacher, like, you don't understand what's going on in my house. Like, I swear Stella is out to get me. My little girl who all my stories are about. She's now 12 years old. She's amazing. But my teacher would just look at me. My teacher has now become a dear friend of mine, and she would say, trust me, Wendy, your kids are not out to get you. They're just trying to figure out how to do this thing called life. And I'd be like, oh, okay, if you say so. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so true, right? So when you have those moments, and the traditional pushback that I know we all are very familiar with is, the kids not wanting to eat their dinner or not wanting to go to bed on time. I mean, how many of you have kids that are staying up so late right now? It's like the schedules are all weird, right? Or kids that don't want to do their homework or their schoolwork, don't want to put on their helmet, we could go on and on about all the things that we get into power struggles with our kids about, right? So when that happens, you check yourself. How do I feel? If I feel provoked and challenged, my shoulders are going back, I'm ready to engage, you're going to go, oh, this is a power struggle. That's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. My kids are trying to figure out how to do this thing called life. My kids are trying to feel powerful, which is a human healthy need. And I can step to the side. I don't have to meet them where they are and engage and dip down into the same type of misbehavior, because power struggles are not joyful. They might actually create a sense of pseudo-joy. We call it actually the joy of opposing. And so many parents and kids actually get locked in combat, and they almost have a sense of joy about it. And before long, they don't even know what they're fighting about. They just know that they are engaged in this battle and they're going to win, right? If you've ever seen me do the push-pull exercise, where we actually demonstrate what it looks like to be in a power struggle with your kids, you know what I'm talking about. But the essence of that exercise is, once you disengage and you simply step to the side and give yourself a moment to take a deep breath, to realize that it's not a 4-alarm fire, that you can get creative, you can work as a team, your kids are not out to get you, they just need some mentorship and guidance and patience and empathy and firm kindness. Remember, we're not being permissive here. When we step to the side, this is not permissiveness. This is strong leadership. Strong leaders actually slow down and think about how they want to handle the situation instead of reacting like a volcano. Okay? So slow down, step to the side, get creative, and ask yourself, how can I empower my kids in this situation? It's kind of a freaky thought, right? I remember when I was first learning this work, again, I was working with my parenting coach, and I would say, she's nuts. Like she's crazy. And she would say, give me some examples. And I'd say, well, I tell her what to do, and she won't listen. And she would say to me, when are you going to understand that you've got to stop telling her what to do? Get creative. Talk to her in different ways. Help her, understand that she has choices, that she is not just being pushed all day long to comply, to only do things how other people want, but she actually is being empowered and she's given choices and you respect her and all these things. And I was just like, okay, I'll try. And so this is where the language came in, right? Like when you get creative, parents, and you realize that you can ask your kids to do things in a different way and they will respond better. But work as a team, empower them, give them the opportunity to actually help dissolve the battle. A lot of times when I work with parents, they'll say, I don't know, they just keep pushing back. I don't know why they keep doing this. They never want to get in the shower. They never want to sit down. And I'll say to them, have you asked them why? Have you sat down when you're tucking them in at night and said, hey, why is it that you always push back and you never want to get in the shower? Why is it that you never want to sit still at the dinner table? Why is it that you don't always show respect when it's time for prayer? Tell me, what's going on? Like this is back to seeking to understand, right? And getting creative, working as a team. Because when you start to understand what's going on for your kids, then you can say to them, okay, we can figure this out as a team. And so that's the verbiage I want you to try this out this week, you guys, okay? So try this exact statement. I can see that you don't want to, and we still need to get it done. So how are we going to work this out so we both win? That is a beautiful example of sharing power. Because again, if you are a power person, which is awesome, we need power people in our world. People that love to feel power are our leaders. And our kids that love to feel power are our future leaders, right? We need compassionate, kind, grace-filled, courageous, brave leaders to step on stages and think outside of the box and do things different in this world, right? To stand up for their faith, to stand up for Jesus when the world is not. Like all these things, we need these power type of personalities who enjoy feeling powerful, and we really need them to make sure that they're not broken or that they don't feel like they're broken or wrong or shameful about how they were designed to be, because they were perfectly designed. But when you talk to your little power people like this and say, I can see that you don't want to do it, and we still need to get it done, you're establishing your role as a firm, kind leader in your home, and it really will do wonders for you, parents. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you just some tips and encouragement on ways you can really use empowerment to help your kids behave better, cooperate more, and listen a whole lot better to what you're asking them to do. So if you do have one of those strong-willed kids, you guys, I have a really good guide that'll give you some of the tips I just talked about. It includes a little worksheet. You can grab that over on freshstartfamilyonline.com/strong-willed kids. Enjoy.